Today is Saturday, September 26th, 2020, and today I'm thinking about the state of churches today. And they're just so fake and phony and plastic and all about the wrong things. And they're hardly ever talking about Jesus. And they're certainly not telling people to repent every day, which is one of the main things that Jesus would talk about, is telling people to repent. And that's not what church is about these days. Matthew chapter 21, verse 13. This is Jesus Christ speaking, and said unto them, It is written, My house shall be called the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves. And I would say these days it's even worse than a den of thieves. It's just like a freak show. They just want to make it like a TV rock concert. And so these are some images I got. I just looked up LA church, and yeah, this is the type of thing that people think is great these days. Oh, I know that people would talk about how amazing their church is if it was something like this. Special effects, got the lighting, got some crazy disco ball amps, and they make it all about singing. Even when I was young, a big part of church was people going up there with their guitars, and they think that they're rock stars. It's so egotistical. The way that they make church all about being a rock star, I don't understand. Did Jesus walk into the temple and bust out his acoustic guitar and start playing? I never read that part in the Bible because it doesn't exist. That's not, it's not all about singing. I, yes, there is some singing in the Bible. The Psalms were songs, and I think we are supposed to sing praises to God, but it's not a big rock concert. I don't understand that churches these days, they make it all about playing the music. To me, it's just incredibly cringy. It's like if I go to a party and somebody brings out, which I never go to parties anymore, but I'm just saying, you go to a party and somebody brings out a acoustic guitar and starts singing, that just makes me cringe so much. Like I'm not here to be entertained by you. I don't understand. They I say it all the time that free martins, they think that they're bards, and it reminds me too of how if you go read the bio of pastors, pastors love having their little bio on the church website. It's like 9 times out of 10, these free martin pastors, their hobbies are going to include woodworking. And it's because, I don't know, it's like they all think that they're Jesus or something. They all want to be carpenters. But they also want to be rock stars too. It's very bizarre. And churches are not supposed to have hierarchies. This is just something that I feel like I've just always understood. So most Christians already understand about Catholicism. There's no reason for a pope. That doesn't make sense. There's nowhere in the Bible that talks about having popes and having clergy, having different organization. Unless you, I think that Pauline stuff does actually talk about that a lot, which is one of the issues I have with Paul. That I believe that people use those types of letters, the Pauline letters, a lot to try to, I don't know, put pastors on pedestals and things like that. I don't believe that at all. That you should walk into a church and that there's a hierarchy. I don't agree with that at all. And it's a big problem with churches these days that it is a huge social structure. And I didn't grow up in the church. All I have is what I've seen from the outside and from what people tell me who have been to churches. But it's just one of those things that each church has their own hierarchy, and not just in the church, just a social hierarchy where there's going to be certain people who are buddy buddy with the higher ups, and they get preferential treatment, and they get the long hellos in the marketplace, that kind of thing, sit at the higher tables. And it's because nothing's changed. Besides all the flash, these people, they look like they're trying to be like people on TV. Got the orange rose. They will be doing hand signs left and right. What is this? Is this a rock concert? Could you even tell that this is supposed to be... How does this glorify God? It's all ego. There's so much ego involved in this stuff. They will be throwing the hand signs. They'll be looking like they got the look. They'll all got the look. How many graphic designers do these people have on retention? Seriously, they gotta have like 10 graphic designers working for each church. And the people in charge, the people up on the podium, the people with the microphone, they are gonna be inverted skeleton. And they won't tell you about the Orange 33 Club, but many of them are in it. And I still have yet to see any Orange 33 Clubber admit what they're a part of. They take oaths, and it destroys you to take oaths like that. We are to take no oaths. And these people can't teach you anything. I liked how the MSG. What version of the Bible is MSG? They can't even keep their Bible straight. They can't even stick to one version. This person's using NIV, this person's using MSG. Somebody's told me before that it was impossible to do Bible study with their church because every single person was using a different version of the Bible. They're sowing confusion. Look at all the flashy lights. Talking about the Super Bowl. Endless wings. Photo booth. Wing eating contest. Great. Here's just a smaller church. Every church I went to, pretty much, when I looked at their photos, the first one was some rock band scenario. What even is this supposed to be? Up, in, out? They're all about their strange messages, and they love to brand their church. It just makes me sick, this stuff. I don't know how people can't see it. Why do you think that your church should have a brand? Why are churches celebrating all these satanic pagan holidays, even though the Bible calls them out? And usually these churches are empty. That's another big point, is usually these churches are empty. Maybe that's part of why they're constantly talking about people giving tithing, is that they're all leaking money like crazy. They have 10 graphic designers making all their flyers that nobody looks at and making these PowerPoint presentations for the pastors, and nobody shows up. They wear these long robes with strange symbols all over it. Those look like triad claws and got the orange hand. Okay, the Bible specifically mentions how we're not supposed to be wearing long robes. And they love all their symbols. They will buy into everything. All the NWO stuff. You won't go into one of these churches and hear them talking about flat earth, or hear them talking about how it's the end of the world, time is speeding up, how you have to repent. These people are just, their job is to meet the status quo, just keep going on, do whatever the NWO is talking about, talk about dinosaurs, talk about cavemen. That's what these churches are there for. And look at this. This just reminds me exactly of when Jesus would talk about when you go to supper, don't just put yourself up at the elders' table right away. But that's how these churches work. I guarantee to you that all these churches work like that. They would not let, if they had some sort of banquet like this, they would have upper seats where it's all reserved for the big donors, and it's because they're phonies. They love to play dress up. How does any of this glorify God? I thought this was really strange too. For Jesus' blood that sets us free, but then down here they have this giant orange sign that says nope. Just a strange idea. And it's all just a rock concert for these people. They all want glory for themselves. They want to, I don't know. I don't understand the mentality that comes behind it. It's just something that I see with the Freemartins all the time. They want to be a bard. They do it for the glory themselves. They really do. Where's a church? I want to go to a church that doesn't have sing-song every single day for the majority of the day. And I want to go to a church that talks about the truth, that talks about the important truths, that talks about how Genesis 1 is true. And I want to go to a church that is always talking about Jesus. Again, these churches are mostly empty. But look at it. What is with this? Why is it a rock concert every day? Sacrificial, transformed living. They are transformers. These churches are owned and operated by transformers who are going to talk about transforming, who are going to throw gang signs And Orange 33, they are wolves. Whether or not they even know what they're doing, I don't know how deluded these people are. It's just such a strange thing to me. You cannot be a part of a secret club and then pretend to follow Jesus Christ. Do these people really think that Jesus would be okay with being a part of an Orange 33 Transformer Club and keeping it secret from people and from blabbing on and on about outer space and dinosaurs? All the flashy lights. Man, each one of these churches, they must just be bleeding money like crazy with their graphic designers and their whoever's keeping up the lights and all the sound equipment, and it's ridiculous. Yep, this is what you're dealing with. Day in, day out, they're a part of a secret club and they have excluded you your entire life. But then they'll pretend to be Christian. I don't understand. Got some chevron. Chevron is 33, isn't it? That's that symbol, and it's also like a pyramid. Why do all these churches have logos? We love how the pastor is such a cinephile, and I love how cinephile, C-I-N, is the same as S-I-N, cinephile, cinema, sin, and is able to relate films to the word. Right? I'm sure that that's what Jesus wanted us watching all Hollywood. Do you just see how tainted everything is? Where are the churches where they call out Hollywood for all the blatant pedophilia, Satanism? These people that are in charge of the churches, their whole life is supposed to revolve around this thing. So why haven't they noticed all the Illuminati symbolism? Why haven't these people... How could you be a big cinephile and also be a pastor, but not notice how satanic everything is? Are they not watching the same movies as me? I don't understand. I mean, I don't even watch movies anymore, but there are no movies out there that don't blaspheme, don't have satanic undertones. So I just don't understand that this is just so earthly for a pastor to be a cinephile and to constantly be relating films to the word. I don't know how well you're going to be able to relate a satanic movie to the word. Anyways, a lot of these churches are very unwelcoming. I've heard so many people talk about how what you might call the elders or the popular crowd at churches are usually snooty and rude, and it's because you shall know these people by their fruits, but you'll also know them by their skeleton. Extremely unfriendly. And this pastor kept just saying, I would appreciate a chance to have a conversation with you. It's like, instead of just owning up and trying to fix yourself, they always want to try to have a conversation with you. Oh, because they'll, I don't know, try to make excuses for their church or something. They're just desperate to get people in their church because they probably have like 10 people. Why nobody wants to go to church anymore? A book written by Tom and Joanne Schultz. I love all these Jewy sounding last names that love to talk about Christianity. But they're right. Nobody wants to go to church anymore because it's fake, phony plastic. Everybody is barely scraping by. Most people, shouldn't say everybody, most people are barely scraping by. Why do they want to go to a church that's going to hound them to pay a bunch of tithing and the church doesn't do anything with it besides buy flashy lights, buy new guitars? They'll be asking you to go to their church website. Every church website will probably have a way to give money to them online now. Big enough to make a difference, small enough to care. They got their orange logos everywhere. So many logos, and so many of them with orange crosses. The cross is really a cube. It's an unfolded cube. Here, this church is doing a car bingo. I don't even know what that is. Car bingo. Eden Prairie United Methodist Church offers a progressive theology paired with an imperative for spiritual transformation. You'll hear these people with all the buzzwords because they're a part of a secret club. They'll be bringing Eastern things in, breathe out. This pastor had like a weekly blog, and yeah, talking about meditation type ideas, breathing in, breathing out. I'm not saying that focusing on your breathing isn't an okay thing to do sometimes if you want to calm down, but there's a line when people start to make it into an Eastern thing, a meditation thing. Most churches where I live nowadays are supporting the LGBTQ thing, and they won't tell you about the switch skeletons, though. That's the thing. I don't even get mad at people that are homo or people that want to dress in different clothes than what they're supposed to, because how often did Jesus talk about that stuff? That's just, you always just got to go to Jesus. Was Jesus constantly screaming about homos, and was Jesus constantly screaming about transgender people? No. And it's probably because Jesus knew about this skulls and bones thing. I don't have any questions anymore about the whole LGBTQ thing. They're just hiding the skulls and bones. They're hiding the intersex conditions. The reason there's so many gay people out there is because of the switch skeleton thing. Free Martins, they're masculinized women. But so there you go. That's why they're women who have been masculinized. A lot of them are attracted to masculine features because they are women at the end of the day. And there's a lot of what people would say are butch lesbians out there, but if you just look at their skeleton, you'll see that they aren't a woman. They just have Swyer syndrome. Got this big diamond window. Diamond is 33. Anyways, what I wanted to show with this, whatever. This was this person's blog, Becky Joe Mesenbrink, their blog. I just thought it was interesting how this person's blog constantly had 0 comments on it. But it's like, it's just this person's job to sit here. Part of their job is to just make this weekly thing. You'd think that you'd get discouraged after a while with 0 comments, 0 comments, 0 comments. This church probably has like 10 people in it. Week after week. You'd think that you'd be like, wow, what are we doing wrong? Maybe this isn't what it's supposed to be all about. This church had an outdoor labyrinth too, which is another Eastern idea. This church had a YouTube channel too with an orange background, a total of 14 subscribers. They're getting 6 views or 12 views, 7 views on their videos. The church is dead, and it's because, the fake plastic phony Christian church these days. Each town has 100 of them, and each church might have like 5 or 10 people that go to it each week. It's really become a ghost town. And it's probably because people can just feel that Jesus is not in the churches anymore. The churches are all about self-glorification. That's why you walk in and everyone thinks they're a rock star. That's why, they make it all about people being rock stars, and they make it about the church hierarchy. There's going to be a social hierarchy at the church, guaranteed. And it's always been like this, even in Jesus's time. So nothing new under the sun. And you're not going to find Jesus Christ in a church, because by this point, it's just all controlled opposition. Find me a church with a pastor that talks about flat earth, that talks about all the eunuchs made in the mother's womb, and I don't think you're going to find any of them. God bless everyone.